Let's take a nice deep breath in before we begin. And let's shake out any tension as we arrive in this space together. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Align with Nyx. I'm Nyx, and this is your Aquarius Season Collective Energy Forecast reading. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. This space is intuitive, grounded, and embodied. We look at the cosmic and zodiac energetics moving through the collective and how they meet you in your lived experience, in your body, your breath, your choices, and your nervous system. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for returning. You already know what it is. It's not about prediction. It's about awareness, agency, and integration. Whether new or returning, your presence is absolutely appreciated, and I hope that you all find something in this reading that either clarifies, confirms, or supports you in any way. Now, Aquarius season invites us into a very different frequency than Capricorn. If Capricorn was about structure, responsibility, and asking, what am I building? Aquarius asks, does this still belong to me? And who am I when I stop performing stability? This season is more so about perspective shifts, of zooming out without disassociating, of remembering that individuality and community are not opposites, they are in conversation. So with that said, before we move deeper into this season's forecast, I just want to ground out the field that we are going to be working in, okay? So if you could take another nice deep breath in and exhale. And wherever you are, just see if you can feel your feet, whether you're sitting or laying down. Let your body know you're here and you're supported. Aquarius energy can be electric, visionary, mental, fast moving, which is why we anchor into the body before we let the energy speak. Nothing needs to open wider than feels safe, and nothing needs to make sense. Just notice what's present. And with that, we'll move into the cosmic weather of Aquarius season, the broader energetic climate that the cards are going to be responding to. Let me just find my notes. Looks like I took a lot of notes. I'm going to try to move through this as quickly but as calmly as possible. Okay, so as we move into Aquarius season, there's a very real energetic shift happening here, not just astrologically, but energetically, psychologically, and collectively in how we relate to time, systems, and each other. We are coming out of Capricorn season where the focus was structure, responsibility, and endurance, a season that asks us to grow up, hold weight, get honest, make decisions, face reality as it is, not as we wish it were, and to carry what we said we were ready for. Just days before Aquarius season begins, we are going to be entering a new moon in Capricorn. That's January 18th, and that is the first new moon in 2026. That new moon is not about starting something shiny or new. Yes, you can still do your manifestation rituals if that is what you were into, but this new moon in Capricorn is about commitment, consolidation, and sealing in the lessons that Capricorn season demanded, okay? It's asking, what are you willing to be responsible for? What are you done pretending you can carry? What structure is real and what was performance, okay? This Capricorn new moon isn't really here to open a door. Yes, again, feel free to use the energy of the new moon to clear paths, open roads, and manifest lots of beautiful blessings, opportunities, and things that your heart's desires. But understand, with an additional perspective to this new moon, that the Capricorn new moon taking place January 18th, 19th, depending on where you are in the world, it's here to close a door, okay? The energy that I've been getting lately leading up to the new moon and just in 2026 in general, and it's coming up a lot in conversations with clients, friends, and even when I'm talking to myself, because that's what I do, is, how do I explain this? If you've ever heard of or seen the movie All Dogs Go to Heaven, us millennials will know what it is. I'm going to paint the scene for you. Charlie, the main character, he has crossed the veil to the other side. and he's being guided by a beautiful angel showing him all the luxuries and beauty of what it is to be in doggy heaven, okay? But he wants to come back to this side. There's things that he's not done with, and he has to come back and get those things done. And he finds a loophole, and he takes that loophole and he's funneling his way back down to this side of the veil. And as he's leaving doggy heaven, that angel, that guide, is saying to him, you can never come back. You can never come back. So he took a risk, right? Leaving heaven to come back to here means he can never go back to doggy heaven. So that phrase, not exactly in that way. I've just been basically saying you can't go back. You can't go back. I feel like we can't go back. There's just something in the energy that's saying we just can't go back. So it's like the old and misaligned is not welcomed in spaces where the frequency is elevated or elevating, where the energy is healthier, where alignment is being honored. This new moon in Capricorn is closing out cycles. So we can't go back, okay? This new moon is clarifying priorities, and it's clearing out dead weight, which honestly it's important because Aquarius season doesn't begin in a vacuum. It begins on the foundation that Capricorn has tested, okay? It doesn't dismiss the work that was done in Capricorn season, but it does question it, and it does integrate what needs to be integrated. So think foundation built by Capricorn. Now Aquarius is here to start poking at the holes, or the holes that look like they're holes but might not be holes, okay? Aquarius season is coming in to ask, what systems are you loyal to out of habit rather than alignment? What are you honoring? Where are you honoring tradition? And where are you just afraid to disrupt the status quo? Where Capricorn is very much like build from the bones type energy, Aquarius is like, well, what you built, okay, is it still alive or is it old code? Does the structure serve life or is it just control? Now, we already know Aquarius is an air sign, so mental, conceptual, visionary, okay? It's not here for surface level thinking or trendy rebellion, despite what some people may think. Unlike Gemini or Libra, Aquarius also isn't here to discuss ideas endlessly. Birth them, yes. Discuss them endlessly, no. But it is here to reimagine the future, often in ways that feels disrupted before it feels liberating. Now, at its core, Aquarius is deconditioning, pattern disruption, truth that liberates but doesn't confront, collective awareness versus personal ego. This season activates mental electricity, nervous system sensitivity, emotional detachment as a tool, not as a flaw. Aquarius, it breaks loyalty to outdated identities, questions authority, external, but also internal, okay? It challenges your ego, and exposes where you've been performing stability instead of living in your truth. So, though we are in winter and it is cozy season, Aquarius season is a wake-up season, but mentally, okay? It is the architect of what comes next. And this year, Aquarius season is going to be anything but subtle, which, I mean, leading up to it, I'm pretty sure you already know that. Now we're moving through a concentrated Aquarius energy, okay? With the sun being joined by Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Now, think thought, communication, relationships, values, desires, action, and identity, all speaking the same language all at once, but through the lens and theme of Aquarius, okay? So this can feel like being mentally activated while gaining sudden clarity, restlessness, or feeling electrically charged, inspired but unsettled with a strong urge to change direction, a deep discomfort with business as usual, and less tolerant of outdated roles, rules, and dynamics and systems. So ideas may come quickly, but not all of them are meant to be acted upon, especially immediately. Some are prototypes, some are signals, and some are just simply being asked to be acknowledged. I've been telling quite a few people lately, which now that I'm have a better understanding of the energy that we're stepping into, make lists. If you're having a plethora of ideas coming to you right now, just make a list. You don't have to act on it. You don't have to deconstruct the ideas unless in the moment you have some deconstructive points you want to put there so you don't forget. But just make the list for now, because you are going to be circling back and seeing what is in alignment at that time of circling back and acting on what you feel should be acting on in that moment, okay? Now, Mercury in Aquarius accelerates thought and pattern recognition. Mars in Aquarius pushes for change, but not in a straight line. Venus in Aquarius is asking us to define connection, attachment, and belonging. And of course, the sun is going to illuminate it all. Now, layered beneath this, there's a lot of information, is Pluto in Aquarius, which is the long game. Pluto doesn't rush. It transforms systems from the inside out. It doesn't blow things up loudly. It simply rewires it, okay? Now, this is long-term generational change energy, okay? Reshaping how we relate to power, to technology, to community, voice, and autonomy over the coming years. Aquarius season acts like a spotlight, briefly revealing what Pluto is slowly dismantling and rebuilding. And in its own way, it's basically saying to kind of like just get honest about where control is being outsourced versus reclaimed. So if you're feeling mentally overstimulated but emotionally detached, aware of collective tension without wanting to absorb any of it, when I do that, I just feel kind of like, ugh. Called to stand in your truth differently, inspired one moment or disillusioned the next, guilty. Unwilling to carry responsibility that simply just isn't yours to carry, double guilty. Actually, no, like, huzzah, I'm not doing that anymore, and I hope you aren't either. This is not disengagement. This is discernment, and it makes sense because Aquarius, it holds the paradox between like deeply caring without absorbing it or collapsing into it, okay? We are also living in the age of Aquarius. I felt that this was important to mention. And that's, I find that the age of Aquarius is often either romanticized or misunderstood. However, it does amplify the themes of Aquarius season, okay? The age of Aquarius is about decentralization, collective awakening, technological evolution, and questioning authority structures that were once considered untouchable. We are seeing this happening a lot this past year leading up to this point, and honestly, we ain't seen nothing yet. That's all I'm gonna say. We ain't seen nothing yet. So when Aquarius season does roll out, it doesn't just feel like another zodiac season. It's gonna kind of feel like a pulse point, so to speak. Things are gonna move faster, truths are gonna surface quicker, and resistance becomes more visible, whether it be in the socials, the medias, the workplaces, the familials, the friends, and even with self, okay? And yet clarity is going to continue coming in waves because that is just what clarity be doing these days lately, just coming in waves. Now, because we're also moving under an eclipse and retrograde current beneath the season, I just wanted to also kind of address this before we dive into the reading. If you're still with me, thank you. I promise we'll get moving very, very soon. Clarity may arrive in layers, not consciousness, okay? Because this season is not about final answers, it's about reorientation and recalibration. So if things feel unsettled, unfinished, or kind of like in flux, it does not mean you're behind. You're literally attuning to the shifts unfolding as you find your flow and your rise, okay? So before we move on, I want to acknowledge something that you may already be feeling intuitively. Now, this is kind of like out of my scope of knowledge, but I do want to address it. According to Chinese astrology, we are in the year of the snake, specifically the wood snake, until about mid-February, which means we are still in a cycle of shedding, strategic awareness, internal refinement, and quiet transformation. The snake doesn't rush its evolution, okay? It sheds when it's ready, not when it's pressured. And as the snake year concludes during Aquarius season, there's a sense of like a final molting happening. Excuse me. Old skins that no longer fit, be gone. Identities that once protected you but now restrict you, be gone. Ways of thinking that got you through but won't carry you forward, respectfully, be gone. This shedding prepares us for what's coming next. We've got Pisces season's dissolution, Aries season's ignition, and eventually the forward momentum of the horse year in Chinese astrology. So if this season feels like a threshold rather than a destination, that's because it is. Nothing here is meant to be forced. Nothing here is meant to be perfect. We are literally entering a season of seeing more clearly, choosing more consciously, and preparing more wisely, okay? So with that cosmic context set, let us now see what the cards have to say, and how they respond to all of what I've just talked about. Feel free to pause, take a break, go to the washroom, grab a snacky snack, get your notebooks out. Don't get your notebooks out. You can rewatch this as many times as you want. I'm gonna be right back with the cards though, okay? Alrighty. I've grounded us in the cosmic weather, the astrology, and the broader energetic themes of Aquarius season. Now we're gonna let the cards speak, okay? As you can see, I've already pulled the cards to allow the energy to settle and come through clearly. So together we're going to sit with them and let the message unfold and tell us what is good in this divine hood. Now, as I pull these cards, I invite you to allow your body to respond first before your mind, meaning notice what you feel as you look at the imagery. Notice where your attention goes. Notice if something tightens, softens, expands, or pulls, okay? No need to force a meaning here, no need to perfect interpretation. This is just a way for intuitive awareness to expand. Sensation first, story second. And if something stands out to you, please hold on to it, write it down. You can pause the video and come back when you're ready. And if you feel called to, which I would love if you could share in the comments what does come up for you. I do love hearing your interpretations. They expand my perspective and they also add to my intuitive library as well. So you are welcome to do that. Alrighty, so let's begin with card number 1. The first row is pulled from the Oracle of the 7 Energies. The second row is pulled from These Are the Signs of the Times. This is my aligned guidance deck, which is my oracle deck that I am slowly working on. And this is my soul into you affirmations deck that you did not see in the last reading. So we'll start with this one here. Okay, so we have It Is What It Is. Take a moment to look at this. All right, so as you can see, there's a path here. It's a dark, like an almost velvet-like path, but it's bordered by water, leading to a door that is closed. The door itself doesn't seem flat. It feels layered, and with the overlay, like there's like a smoky texture to it, almost alive. Visually, this card doesn't fight the moment. There's like a grounded neutrality to it. No drama, no bypassing, just truth as it stands. I'm actually feeling a little bit of pressure in my head and temples as I hold this card and connect to the energy. It feels more like density though. Like the mind is wanting to take control and the body is saying, stop negotiating with what is already real. So that's essentially the foundation that I'm pulling from this card here. And as I sit with this card, what stands out to me is the layering of the colors. They don't really seem to be fighting each other. Instead, they're just coexisting. Like look at the dark purples and the blues. They do feel heavy, intuitive, and ancient. But then you have the gold, the more gold in the center of the card here. And it feels like truth. You have this kind of like pinkish red at the base that brings me back into the body, into reality, thinking like root chakra energy. And then more of this kind of like white gold, which feels like a gentleness, grace, patience almost. So this card, well, more so the phrase I find is often either taken at face value or word value or completely misunderstood. You always hear someone or yourself say, it is what it is, during like a white flag moment when it feels like you can't do anything about your situation, or when you feel like you're at a standstill with self, a person, a situation, whatever. However, in this moment, what's coming through is that it is what it is, isn't about giving up. It's more so about stopping that internal war. There's like an invitation here to accept reality as it is, as Capricorn wanted you to do in Capricorn season, not because it's permanent, but because resistance distorts your vision, okay? The question that I feel coming through right now is, can you see clearly enough to choose differently? What's interesting is that even though the door looks closed, there's that energy around it that is anything but static. It's like the door that you thought was closed is really you potentially standing at the wrong door or in the wrong frequency. This kind of tells me that what feels blocked isn't necessarily blocked. It just needs or requires a different approach, a different path. Aquarius energy doesn't bulldozer doors open, okay? It strips illusions to liberate. It reroutes, it innovates, it questions assumptions. So the real question that this card may be asking is, how are you looking at your circumstances? Are you looking at it from survival, from ego, or from expanded awareness? Two things can be true at once. Something can be or feel difficult and still be workable. And a door can be closed and temporary. So this card feels like the moment before this shift, when you stop fighting what is and start seeing what's possible. This card is very much giving me the notion that if you change the angle, you change the outcome. I like that. If you change the angle, you change the outcome. I know I've heard that phrasing before. I've probably said it before. You've probably heard it or said it before. So hopefully that resonates. If you change the angle, you change the outcome. Let's go on to card number 2. And this one is a deep breath. It's actually really pretty. Take a moment to just look at the card, take in whatever. All right, so this card feels soft, pale, quiet. We see the water lilies resting at the surface here on the bottom of the card, and then we see this face emerging gently from a background, almost statue-like, like it's timeless. There's nothing urgent here, nothing sharp, nothing really demanding attention. You can see it in the softness of the imagery, the spaciousness, the pause. This card doesn't rush resolution. It regulates first. What's interesting is that as I hold this card, it doesn't feel like it brings the energy of calm for calm's sake. It feels like a pause that's necessary because something deeper wants to be acknowledged or come through. As I connect to the energy of this card here, my chest kind of wants to rise and my spine wants to like strengthen or straighten and lengthen. It's like we're being invited out of bracing ourselves and instead leaning into presence. Not to escape anything really, just think more along the lines of like stability. For me, this card speaks to the body needing to catch up with the mind. Some of us are still carrying old stories, old patterns, fears, old survival responses without realizing just how tightly we're gripping them. And when we don't give ourselves the space to breathe, those stories start to run the show. A lot of what we're experiencing right now, generally speaking, isn't actual danger, but it's more like a perceived threat. So like think, our nervous systems are being overstimulated. Our attention is completely fragmented for generally speaking, okay? We're absorbing more information than our bodies were ever designed to hold. We are at a place and time in this world where it's like information overload, so that coming through doesn't surprise me. Our nervous systems, our energy bodies, more so the emotional and mental energy bodies, are in need of triage. So think recalibration, reorganization, restructuring, right? So even though I'm tongue-tied. Even though the calendar tells us we're in a new year energetically, we are still in winter. I mean, technically up here in the north in Canada, yeah, we are in winter. And winter is, in my opinion, the season of introspection, of slowing down, of meeting the parts of ourselves we usually avoid when life gets busy. See, Capricorn season asked us to commit to something, to structure, to intention, to long-term vision. But Aquarius is asking something different. It's like, can you breathe inside the change? Can you pause long enough to notice what no longer fits? Because you can't think your way through this season. You have to inhabit your own body here. Think of it this way. Plants can't take root in soil that hasn't been cleared. Plants can't take root in soil that hasn't been cleared. So if we don't tend to our inner landscape, the fear, the grief, the exhaustion, whatever we're trying to build won't hold. Whatever we're trying to sustain won't be sustainable. This card feels like permission. Permission to stop running, to be with yourself, to rest without guilt. Not so you can disappear, but more so you can like truly reconnect with yourself. Your visions, your dreams, your passions, your desires, your higher self, your angels, your guides, your ancestors, God, whatever it is that you lean into, it's like you're having permission here to like reconnect. Let this land if you can, and let me know if this hits, because it actually feels really good coming through. When you breathe, you remember who you are, and when you remember who you are, clarity follows. When you breathe, you remember who you are, and when you remember who you are, clarity follows, okay? So just remember, your breath is the bridge. Your breath is the bridge. So I'll put that there for now. Alrighty, next up we have Feeling the World. Very pretty card. Take in the visuals. All right, so this card speaks to heightened sensitivity, collective empathy, porous emotional boundaries. It's like feeling the world opens things wider. As I look at this card, what I'm really noticing is like the openness of it. There's no armor here, no walls, no filters. It feels like standing outside with your skin exposed. Not necessarily to the weather, but like to the atmosphere as a whole. Right now, the collective field is very loud, right? Our personal internal fields can also be very loud as well, but not so much in chaos, despite the appearance of what we are being inundated with, but more so like it's sensory dense. As a whole, generally speaking, people are feeling more than they can intellectually process due to empathic overload. Empathic overload. I'm really tongue-tied, wow. People as a whole, but generally speaking, are absorbing moods, news, expectations, and unspoken tension resulting in collective grief. Again, generally speaking, mistaking emotional saturation for personal failure or instability to unprocessed collective fear moving through our sensitive bodies. This card feels like a tuning fork, which is kind of funny because that's what I use to ground us today. It feels like resonant, responsive, however, a little too open if you're not grounded, right? See, this Aquarius season, the energy is amplified through the nervous system, honestly, which makes this card fitting for me, but which is also fitting because Aquarius rules the collective nervous system. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier. It feels everything, but it's meant to witness, not absorb. So it's like this card here is inviting us not to shut down or toughen up, but to discern. Like, what is mine to feel, and what am I carrying that was never meant to be held alone or all at once, okay? This card feels very textured, very layered, very rich and sensory. It holds the paradox of empathy and overwhelm living in the same body. Honestly, it screams Aquarius season to me. As I hold this card, my stomach feels a bit unsteady, not unsafe though, just porous, like emotional information moving faster than the language that I can interpret like through my body, which tells me honestly that there could be many of us feeling a lot right now, not due to fragility, but more so because like you're very perceptive. A lot of you are very, very perceptive. So this card kind of like reminds me that empathy without boundary becomes overwhelm. Compassion without grounding becomes depletion. This card is not so much saying to carry the world, it's saying learn discernment or the world will live inside of your chest. Again, I'm sensing like another permission being embedded here. You don't need to have an opinion to fix everything, okay? And you don't need to fix what you can sense. and you don't need to metabolize the world just to be loving. Okay, Aquarius teaches us selective engagement, so you get to choose where your care, your attention, your nervous system is invested. On a collective level, this is giving like the season of awakening through felt experiences, not logic. Truth is landing emotionally first, cognitively second. On a personal level, if emotions feel amplified, contradictory, or heavy, nothing has gone wrong. Your system is reading more data than usual, okay? So the medicine, grounding rituals, intentional disconnection, like unplug, okay? Somatic regulation, choosing one place to offer your care fully instead of scattering it everywhere. I do want to anchor this card in with a mantra that's coming up for me. But before I do want to take this time to do a little bit of a shameless plug, because if you work with me or have worked with me, whether in person, virtually, or whatever, you know that I'm all about shameless plugs. Now, since the medicine showing up through this card here isn't abstract and it leads towards practical embodiment, I just want to say this. I have been quietly building a library literally for exactly this, okay? Whether you're subscribed or not, you are so welcome to explore my YouTube channel. Thus far, I have a simple supportive rhythm available: 5-minute meditation, 5-minute affirmation, 5-minute somatic inspired flow, and a 5-minute breathwork practice. Right now, though, everything is just root chakra focused, designed to meet your nervous system where it's at, not to push it, not to override it, not to overwhelm it, but just to meet you where you're at. The sacral flow has begun, and more will be added weekly, twice weekly if I can make it work. The reason why I'm starting with 5-minute practices for each energy center is because I believe that regulation comes before expansion and presence comes before intensity, okay? So right now, my focus is flow, foundation, nervous system trust, so take what supports you, leave the rest. Okay, now back to our scheduled program. Let's anchor this in a mantra. Sorry. I have you situated on my massage table. So if the camera's all wobbly, that's why. It's the best way I can get lighting. Okay, so this is giving, I can feel deeply without carrying what isn't mine. I really like that. I can feel deeply without carrying what isn't mine. If that resonates, please let me know. Okay, so before I move on to the next layout here of the supporting cards, I want to speak to what seems to be forming with these three here, which matches the energy I've been feeling when I was looking into the astrology for this season. Now these set of cards here, they're kind of setting like an energetic and emotional terrain, not asking us to fix anything, but it is guiding us to notice what's already present, right? It speaks to awareness, the nervous system response, the sensitivity, reflecting on how you're meeting the moment, how you're breathing through it, and how deeply you're feeling the world right now. Think of this again as like threshold energy, the place where you pause long enough to recognize what's true before deciding what to do next, okay? So with these set of cards here, we are going to see what's available once the awareness has been acknowledged and not bypassed, alrighty? So let's see what comes up to support what's already been named. Okay. Oh, by the way, card number 6, number 7, number 13, if that means anything to you. And we have card number 21 here. And this is recycle and recover. So this card to me honestly feels like a soft exhale after everything that has just been named. The imagery here reflects renewal through repetition, not force. It's kind of like it's about coming back to what restores you, not reinventing yourself every time you feel depleted. Recycle or recover, however you receive this card, it's not about going backwards. Remember, you can never come back. Okay? See it as reclaiming what was already yours before it got depleted, scattered, or completely overextended. There's a quiet wisdom here that says you don't need a breakthrough, you just need restoration. This energy coming through this card, it's like it supports the nervous system repair, energetic conservation, conservation. It conserves your energy. Conservation, that's a word, right? Yes, it is a word, Nikki. And intentional simplicity. Sorry, brain space for a second. Not adding more, not forcing clarity, but letting your system metabolize what it's already been carrying. Aquarius governs cycles of societal breakdown, right? So think renewal. If the first set of cards helped you notice where you've been bracing, pushing, or absorbing too much, this card is basically saying the medicine is gentle recovery. So it really speaks to the medicine that was being called through feeling the world. Rest is not avoidance here, it's intelligence. Think this isn't collapse for collapse sake. It's composting. It's recovery through truth. And for some of you, it may look like returning to practices, rituals, or rhythms that once worked because your body remembers what helped it to feel safe again, right? Aquarius doesn't rush healing, alignment, etc., etc. Honestly, it demands integrity in your movements and in your intentions. Okay, so we have dice here, number 19. Now, as I even like picked up this card, the energy like subtly shifted in the room here. Let me know if you felt anything. Dice introduces choice, probability, the moment where control loosens its grip, right? We've got the number 4 here showing twice, which matters. It's giving structure, foundation, and stability after the leap. For some reason, I'm seeing the visual of like Russian roulette. This card doesn't say to take reckless risks, though. It says you don't get to logic your way through the next phase. The visual here reminds me that not everything is meant to be decided from certainty. Some choices are meant to be responded to, not controlled. There's an invitation here to engage with uncertainty without collapsing into anxiety or freezing in indecision. Okay? Basically, yeah, bet on yourself, but with awareness. Choose yourself after you've choose yourself after you've told yourself the truth. I'm becoming increasingly tongue-tied as I do this reading. There's an edge there where excitement and uncertainty meet. It's like trust without guarantees. What I'm sensing is chance. In this context, though, it's about responding rather than forcing. Letting life meet you halfway at the edge of the crossroad, wherever that fits where you are right now, okay? Allowing something unexpected to enter, not because you're unprepared, but because you're finally flexible enough to receive it. Aquarius is the sign of conscious risk, so it's not about impulsivity, not about recklessness. Instead, it's about courageous alignment. This pairs beautifully with Aquarius season, honestly. Like, think experimenting, trying something new, trusting intuition over certainty. So if you've been feeling or waiting to feel like 100% ready before getting a move on things, take this card as like a gentle reminder that readiness often comes after the leap, not before it, okay? Readiness comes after the leap, not before it. I'm just gonna take a little sippy. All right, and now we have the moon, aka emotions. And this is card number 23. So 6, 7, 13, 21, 19, 23. The imagery here, honestly, is very reflective. It's cyclical, intuitive, but the moon is intuitive. It doesn't demand clarity, it allows mystery. This card is a bit of a counterbalance to Aquarius season, however, mainly because Aquarius season often activates emotional suppression, intellectualizing pain, spiritual bypassing. However, this card is very much saying, feel it, name it, express it, but don't let it hijack you. Okay? Feel it, name it, express it, but don't let it hijack you. As I hold this card, my throat feels quiet but alert. Little bits. It's probably why I'm getting tongue-tied here. Like something honest wants space but not volume. Throat chakra hygiene may be required during Aquarius season, okay? I'm getting hoarse again. Sorry, just 1 second. So here's some emotional truth surfacing from underneath it all. The moon doesn't ask you to be calm, it asks you to be honest. This tells me that emotions aren't asking to be solved right now, they're just asking to be listened to. This card speaks to emotional tides, subconscious patterns, and sensitivity, especially for those who feel everything deeply but don't always give themselves permission to slow down with it. Okay? What's important here is that emotions are not obstacles, they are signals. Okay, so don't see them as like obstacles or blocks along your journey. See them as signals instead. If something feels foggy, tender, or hard to articulate right now, it doesn't mean you're off track. It could easily mean that you're in a phase where intuition may be louder than logic. Okay, the moon supports emotional literacy. So learning how to sit with feelings without needing to immediately name them or fix them or even explain them. Okay, and when you pair it with dice here, it's almost like you're being asked to trust your emotional intelligence as much as your intellect. Not everything will make sense right away, but your body already knows what's true. It's funny enough, like I feel confused this entire reading. I felt confused gathering the information for the astrological weather report, and I've been feeling confused this entire reading. So altogether, recover your energy, allow uncertainty, and trust what you feel, even when clarity hasn't fully arrived yet. It is what it is reality as it stands, okay? No bypassing, no spiritual lipstick. Then we're asked to take a deep breath, to pause the nervous system long enough to actually stay present in what's true. And from there, it's all about feeling the world, reminding us just how sensitive, permeable, and emotionally aware many of us actually are, okay? Recycle or recovery, however you receive this card, is saying the season isn't about pushing forward endlessly. It's about tending what's been depleted. So tending to what's been depleted, whereas dice is like, not everything can be controlled. Some choices require trust, risk, and discernment, and the moon brings us back into the emotional truth, what's real beneath the logic of it all, the timelines of it all, the expectations of it all. Okay, so let me now tap into... Whoop. Oh, I got it. Good job, good job. So we have, I was gonna say, let me just tap into my aligned guidance deck to see how we can integrate with what's coming up during this reading. There's reasons why I pull the cards also, and it's not just only to let the energy land. The next card is Harmony. It's because if you've ever had a reading with me, or if you ever do decide to have a reading with me, you're going to notice that my decks like to explode in my hand, and cards will just go flying everywhere every time I shuffle, without a doubt. So that's reason number 2 why I tend to pull the cards and let it sit first before I look at them. Okay, so here we have attunement. Okay, so this tells me that the work right now isn't to become someone else's. It's to listen more closely to yourself. So where Aquarius rewards honesty, it also punishes self-deception. So stop lying to yourself, stop pretending alignment is passive, stop outsourcing accountability, okay? This is about refining your inner signal here. So notice when your body tightens. Notice when your breath shortens. Notice when something feels like a quiet yes or a subtle no. Aquarius season amplifies collective noise, and attunement asks you to know which frequencies are yours and which ones you're simply picking up on because you are sensitive to the energies surrounding you. The second card here we have is harmony. And harmony isn't about perfection. In this instance as well, it's not even about balance as a fixed state. It's not calm. It's more so, it's coherence. This kind of ties the entire reading together for me, where it is what it is was acceptance. Deep breath was regulation. Feeling the world is discernment. Recycle is about renewal. Dice is about conscious risk. And the moon is about emotional truth. Harmony is the result, not the starting point. Harmony is responsive. It's knowing when to engage and when to pull back, when to speak and when to rest your voice, when to feel deeply and when to protect your emotional field. This card feels like the nervous system settling into its own rhythm again, not numb, not overwhelmed, just again, coherent. So before I pull an affirmation card and close out this reading, I just want to say that as I was putting this together, and I think I've mentioned it already, the Aquarian energy had me feeling the clarity and chaos all at the same time, even as I was pulling the cards here, which is very destabilizing for my Capricornia self, okay? But I realized that as we were moving and progressing through the reading, it's because the season doesn't give answers, it gives perspective shifts. It invites, sorry for the noise, it invites you into multiple possibilities, not just one conclusion. Even during this reading, I had moments of being tongue-tied and confused. And I'm understanding now, especially as I read these last two, it's not because the message wasn't there, but it's because the energy lives in between all the layers, not in one solid place. Sometimes I need to process what the layers are revealing. So I will be looking back basically to watch this reading myself. But that's Aquarius for you. It teaches you to see differently, not just know more. I also found myself looping through a couple of songs, and it's been about a week since I started looking into the astrology of all this. And the songs that surfaced even while translating the guidance actually. One was Just Around the River Bend, and the other was Colors of the Wind. If you've ever watched Pocahontas, the Disney version, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Please look into the lyrics of those songs and see what comes up for you. But what does Disney soundtrack have to do with astrology? Well, anybody who's clairaudient will understand that sometimes we just be hearing things, sounds, songs, phrases, you name it, you know it. It can be a trip sometimes, but as I reflect, I feel that they are kind of about perspective, possibility, not knowing the next turn until you're in it, okay? Just Around the River Bend speaks to feeling of standing at that threshold. There's that word again, threshold. Not certain of what's ahead, but knowing deep down that life isn't meant to be lived, but scheduled, be lived by schedule or expectations. Whereas Colors of the Wind, it's even more pointed, more direct, asking you to see without the lens of old beliefs or told beliefs, to recognize that reality has depth, context, nuance, and perspective beyond our immediate assumptions. So when I think about it in that way, that's exactly what the energy of Aquarius season is bringing in, not just what it is, but how you choose to see it, right? So if this reading felt confusing at times, I apologize, but that is the work. It's not that the message was unclear, it's that you're being invited to see beyond the surface, okay? To feel without compressing it into a neat, pretty little packaged narrative. This ain't no hocus pocus. It is to intuition meeting our lived experiences and a language helping us translate it into something more grounded and more relatable. Anyways, overall, I promise I'm almost done. Overall, taking everything in as a whole, I would say that Aquarius season isn't asking you to do more. It's asking you to listen better, to pace yourself honestly, and to honor the fact that Sensitivity, when attuned, becomes wisdom, not a burden. Aquarius season is about recalibration, and I've probably said that a bunch of times in this reading, about stepping back far enough to see the pattern, not just the problem. It invites objectivity, truth, conscious detachment, not disconnection, but clarity. The cosmos right now are very loud with information and possibility, and they're going to get louder. Multiple frequencies moving at once, innovation, emotion, choice, and collective pressure all layered together. And the energy of this reading is very clear. You don't integrate this moment by pushing harder. You integrate it by choosing what you stay attuned to, by grounding your body, by honoring your emotional bandwidth, by responding, not reacting to what's unfolding. Okay, so let me now pull from my makeshift Soul Into You deck. Just brain fart. Let me just pull from my Soul Into You affirmations deck. All right, so we have Sacred Pause. Sacred Pause is, I'm just looking at my little notebook here. Rest is not retreat, it's ritual. Okay, so you've been told to keep going, but your soul's over here waving a white flag and a cup of tea. Sit down, not because you've earned it, but because you exist. Stillness is not surrender, it's sacred maintenance. You're not lazy, you're sinking. The pause is a part of the prayer. Okay? You've been told to keep going, but your soul's over here waving the white flag and offering you a cup of tea. So sit your caboose down, not because you've earned it, but because you exist. Stillness is not surrender. It is sacred maintenance. You are not lazy. You are sinking. And this pause is a part of the prayer. Beautiful. That kind of like wraps things up. Okay? All right. So that is where we land. All of this, the cards, the cosmic weather, the energy moving through you right now, it's not about doing more. It is about listening, grounding, and choosing what you take in and what you release. Sensitivity is your gift, okay? Attuned, it's wisdom, not a burden. All right? So let everything sink in. Take time to process. Carry it with you through your day, your week, this season. Thank you so much for being here with me again. Thank you for receiving. To all my Aquarians, happy birthday. May your season be filled with everything magical, mystical, and beautiful. And until next time, everyone, keep listening, keep feeling, and keep honoring your energy. It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much. And just go be awesome. Bye.